Hi, and welcome to our biblical bedtime stories. If you're watching this, it's probably because you're in our pre-K and younger group, and we wanted to offer something to you all that you could listen to either during the day or at night as a bedtime story. So today we're going to do two stories about Noah's Ark, and I hope you don't mind that my friends Poppy, this is Poppy, and Chi-Chi, right here, they're going to listen to the story with me. So if you've ever heard the story of Noah's Ark, it's about a whole lot of animals that were in an ark, which is like a boat, sort of. And they had to get in there because the whole earth was flooded. But at the end of the flood, everything was okay. And God said to Noah, I'll show you this rainbow, and it's a promise to you that I'll never flood the earth again. So we're going to read this book. It's called The Beginning of the Rainbow. So here we go. All the animals were on the move. Elephants, zebras, ostriches, lions, rabbits, giraffes, and penguins were hurrying along in the same direction. And overhead, birds swooped up and down the long procession, calling anxiously as the sky darkened. Do you see that, Chi-Chi and Poppy? What is the matter? Where is everyone going? Asked Tortoise. To the ark, replied Noah. What's an ark? The tortoise looked puzzled. It's a house which will float on the water, said Noah. God told me to build it. He is very angry because people are so wicked, and he is sending a great flood that is going to destroy everything on the earth. Noah was a good man, and God wanted to save him. So God told Noah to take his family and two of each kind of animal into the ark. If you must come too, said Noah. It had taken Noah and his sons a long time and a great deal of hard work to build the ark, which had 3 decks, so there was plenty of room for everyone. The tortoise watched the animals going into the ark, wondering if the flood was really going to come. He couldn't believe it, but just in case it was true, he thought he'd better join the others. Look at our cute little tortoise. The thing about tortoises is they don't go very fast, so I hope he hurries up. At last, everyone was on board, except the tortoise. Hurry up, growled the tiger. Come along, grumbled the hippopotamus. You'll be left behind, sighed the bear. I'm going as fast as I can, puffed the tortoise. He was out of breath, and his legs were really short. Plop, plop, plop. That's what his legs sounded like going up the stairs. The rain started to fall, and Noah and the animals watched anxiously as the tortoise made his way up the gangway into the ark. It rained, and the water rose higher and higher, covering first the hills and then the mountains, swallowing up everything on the earth except Noah and his family and all the animals on the ark. And the rain went on and on. You see our poor little tortoise? He's all the way there. And there's Noah and the penguin and the giraffe and the elephant and the donkey and the rabbits. Everybody saying, come on, hurry up, hurry up. And look, there's the boat. And all of that rain. And it rained on. Do you know it rained for 40 days and 40 nights? And then it stopped. Noah sent a dove out of the ark to see if he could find anything alive. But the dove returned with nothing. They waited another 7 days, and then the dove flew off again. This time it came back with a tiny olive branch in its beak. Noah and the animals were overjoyed to see the fresh green leaves, which meant the flood was going down. Do you see the dove? And you see right in its beak, there's a little bit of green. You see see that, guys? Good. For another 7 days, Noah waited. Then he found the water had gone at last, and the ark was resting safely on the lofty top of Mount Ararat. That mount is now what we would consider modern-day Turkey. So Noah opened the door of the ark, and the animals ran down the mountainside, happy to be back on dry land again. The birds stretched out their wings and whistled around in delightful circles. Only Noah and the tortoise were left in the ark. Will God be angry with us again and send another flood? Asked the tortoise. No, said Noah. Look at the sky. There's the tortoise, and they're looking up into the sky. And what did they see? Is that not the most beautiful rainbow? Look how pretty. Have you ever seen a rainbow? I love rainbows. The tortoise gazed at the great arch of color stretching across the sky. Noah smiled at him. That is the rainbow, he said. It is a sign of God's promise never again to destroy the earth by a flood. And that is the end. So I know that's a tough story to understand because God had just made everything in creation. Why would he destroy it? Well, he couldn't really get people to listen. And I think he thought, well, this is how I get your attention. It got everybody's attention, didn't it? So this is just a funny, cute little book. If you want to continue on, I'm going to read The Bird. And it is the cutest little book about, obviously, the dove. So there were no animals or people on the island. So the hermit had it all to himself, which was just how he liked it. There's our hermit. Does anyone know what a hermit is? A hermit is someone who lives alone. There's no other people around, and obviously on this island, there's not even any animals around. It was always quiet, always tidy, always peaceful. When you live alone by yourself, it can be that way. Always quiet, tidy, and peaceful, right? Looks a little not as fun, though. But one day, he had a visitor. Here comes the visitor. The visitor's saying, flap, flap, flap. Because do you know what that visitor is? It's a bird. Soon, it wasn't quiet. The visitor was not quiet at all. Or tidy. Do you see it? It's splatted on him. So it's whistling and singing and splatting. And it wasn't peaceful. It was doing little zoomies, little vroom zoomies all around him. This is my island, said the hermit. Go find your own. But there are no other islands, said the bird. The bird liked this island. The bird liked the hermit. So they had to share. Do you like to share? Sharing can be hard. But the hermit, he didn't like sharing. He wanted his own piece of the island. We'll divide the island in two, he said. So they tried. And it worked, sort of. So there they are. The bird has come in, and the bird is deciding, I kind of like it here. The hermit, he doesn't look as happy about it. And there they are. Literally, our hermit made a line down the middle of the island. This is hermit's side. This is birdie's side. So it did work for a little while. There we are, hermit and birdie still on their own sides. They're doing pretty good. And then finally, the hermit got irritated and he built a wall. Do you think that's going to help? I don't think so. Do you think it's going to help? Me either. I was right, but it was no good. The bird had to go because he could hear everything through his wall. It wasn't quiet enough for the hermit. The hermit, he built a trap, and then he built a cage. And then he made a hood to put over the cage until at last there was silence, because look what he did. He caught the bird, and then he put the hood over the bird. Oh, and he thought it was just brilliant. He thought he'd solved his problem. He thought it was a perfect solution. He cleaned up the island. He lay in the sun and he listened to the silence. But after a while, the silence bothered him. He even missed the bird's song. He missed all the little chaos and noise. I get that. Sometimes I think I want something, and then when I get it, I'm like, I don't think I want that really. Please sing, said the hermit. But the bird wouldn't. Please make a splat, said the hermit. But the bird wouldn't. Please don't fly away, said the hermit. But the bird did. There he goes, flap, flap, off into the sunset. Now it was very quiet. The hermit grew lonelier and wished the bird would come back. He waited and waited for days and nights until at last, look what came back. His bird. Yippee! Yippee! Flop, flop comes the bird. And he got so excited the bird came back, who was singing and zooming around and even did a splat. Oh, it's so nice to share with a friend, said the hermit. Yes, there's nothing like sharing with a friend, agreed the bird. In fact, that's why I went back to get the others. Others? Said the hermit. They're a nice little picnic. Wouldn't that be nice? Have a little picnic. Well, let's see what others he means, huh? Uh-oh. Do we see what's in this picture? Well, we see the island, and something's coming closer and closer and closer to the island. Does it look a little bit like what was in our last book? I think it's the ark. There it is. It says splash. They let down the door and look what comes out. They all came out. Out comes the lions and the elephants and the sheep and the pigs and the giraffes. And there's Noah and Noah's wife. Look at all those. There's porcupines in the bottom. There's all kinds of animals. Wow, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Oh, there's even some snakes there. I didn't see that. And a rhinoceros. Look at that. There's all kinds of things. There's flamingos and, wow, doggies. All kinds of things. There's quacks and woofs and baas and oinks and snorts. Everything. And even a cat. Oh, and there's the hermit. How happy does the hermit look? I don't know if he's as lonely now, huh? Yes, the others, said the bird. So that's who the bird brought back, was all the others. And that bird all along was the dove. That was the dove who came back. So that's the end of our bedtime stories. So that was all about Noah's Ark in our picture book form. I hope you'll join me each week. I'll have a bedtime story that relates to whatever we learned at Big Sunday School for the week. And I hope that you have a nice week together. And I look forward to being with you again soon. Goodbye.